How's it going today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day so far. So what we're going to be talking about in this video today are 5 very important financial skills that are just not being taught in high school. Now, for those of you that have been following my channel for quite some time, I'm sure you've heard all of these different lessons and it may be a little bit of repetition here for you, but what I want to ask you instead is if you have a friend of yours or maybe a family member who doesn't understand these financial skills, share this video with them. That way they can start to better improve their financial situation and learn some of these important lessons that are just not being taught in school. Now, number 1 here, in my opinion, is the most important financial skill you have to understand in order to be in good financial health. And that is understanding how to calculate your personal cash flow. Now, I know that half of you guys just zoned out when I said cash flow because that sounds extremely complicated, but it's really not. And cash flow is simply a representation of your income versus your expenses. So it's very simple to calculate your cash flow, and I recommend that if you're new to this, this is something you do every single month. You're going to take your income, which for most people is fixed every single month, and subtract out your total expenses, and that's going to tell you whether or not you have positive cash flow, which means that you're making more money than you're spending, or if you have negative cash flow, which means you're spending more money than you are making. And as I'm sure you guys know, we have massive spending problems here in the United States. Most people are in debt. I know there's some crazy statistics out there about the debt in this country and these poor spending habits, and a lot of it comes down to this fundamental understanding of personal cash flow. So that is the very first skill or very first step to improving your financial health, is understanding your personal cash flow and calculating this on a monthly basis. So once you've calculated your personal cash flow, what is the next step here or the next skill? Skill number 2 is being able to understand the difference between discretionary versus non-discretionary spending. And this is very easy to understand. Discretionary spending is something you have control over. You decide whether or not you want to spend that money. It is a want. And non-discretionary spending is money you have to spend regardless, and that is what you call a need. And so what you're going to do, let's say for example, you calculate your personal cash flow and you find out that you're spending more than you're earning every month. Well, you're going to have to cut down on your expenses, and now you're going to have to analyze these items and figure out what are your discretionary and non-discretionary items. So let's go through a couple of examples here. Your utility bill is a non-discretionary expense because if you don't pay that, you're not going to have hot water and you're not going to have electricity. Your rent or your mortgage, that's non-discretionary because you need to pay these things or you're not going to have housing. Taco Bell, that's a discretionary expense because that is a want and it's not a need. Michael Kors, a lot of people are going to tell you that's a need, but it's actually a want. I can assure you of that. Groceries can be non-discretionary or discretionary because if you're going out to stores and you're buying name brand stuff, that's a want, that's not a need. But if you're just buying, cheap groceries and the essentials, that can be a non-discretionary item. And then car insurance is another example of a non-discretionary spending item, something you have to pay for, otherwise you're not going to have transportation to work, you're not going to be able to make any money. So that is step number 2 or skill number 2 that you have to learn, is itemizing your monthly expenses and figuring out which ones are discretionary, which ones are non-discretionary. And then if you need to make some cuts, you're going to get rid of some of these discretionary expense items, things that you're spending money on, the wants in your life. Number 3, the third skill you have to learn, and this is a very easy one that comes from the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you guys have not read that book, I would highly recommend it. I'll link it up in the description below. This is understanding the difference between assets versus liabilities. Now, there's all kinds of different definitions out there of assets versus liabilities, but I tend to follow what Robert Kiyosaki says. It's a very simple reasoning. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out. And so what you want to do is look at the different things in your life and determine whether or not this is an asset or a liability. And of course, you want to be buying assets. You want to be buying things that are going to continue to put money back into your pocket. So just to give you guys a couple of examples here, a rental property that you might buy and rent out, that's an asset because it's putting money in your pocket. Your car, your boat, your RV, that's all liabilities because it's taking money out of your pocket every single month in terms of maintenance or your payments on these things. Stocks, bonds, even old coins, those are all assets because they tend to go up in value. And then one that a lot of people argue on is your single family home. The home that you live in, according to Robert Kiyosaki, is in fact a liability because it's taking money out of your pocket. And anybody who disagrees with me on that, let me know the last time that your house put money in your pocket. Yes, you are building equity and it's better than renting, but it's certainly not an asset like a rental property can be. And so once you understand assets versus liabilities, what you want to do is begin buying more assets and look at the liabilities in your life and determine whether or not you need these things. Number 4, the fourth thing I want to point out here, this isn't necessarily a skill, but it's a lesson and it's something I'm hearing a lot about right now. And that is people who are talking about their tax refunds and how happy they are about their refund. And I'm about to basically burst your bubble here on tax refunds. People don't understand that a tax return or a refund is literally just getting money back that you overpaid to the government. And when we go over number 5 here, this is actually going to get a little bit scary because you essentially are giving the government an interest-free loan where you could have been putting that money somewhere, protecting your money from inflation, which is going to be number 5 on our list here. And a friend of mine gave me a perfect example here I can use when talking about a tax return. And so let me walk you guys through that scenario. Let's say every single week you go to a grocery store and you pay for your groceries on Sundays, you go buy your groceries and you pay them. Let's say at the end of the year, that grocery store said, hey, guess what? Based on the groceries that you purchased, you actually overpaid us by $200. Well, here's your money back. Would you be as excited about that? My guess is probably not, because it was your money to begin with that you gave them, and then they're just giving it back to you. That's exactly what happens with the tax refund, is you're overpaying the government, and as a result, they're giving you back your money that you gave to them as an interest-free loan. Now, there's 2 schools of thought with this. Number 1, it is kind of a deferred savings plan, and if you are smart with your tax refund and you put it towards paying down debt or roll it into some kind of retirement account, I'm all for that. But if you're smart with your money and you're able to separate out that money, you could actually put that somewhere and be earning a return on that as opposed to giving the government a 0% interest-free loan. And one of the best options we're going to talk about are these online savings accounts that have interest rates in the neighborhood of 2% or more, as opposed to earning nothing. So number 4, understanding the principle behind the tax refund is huge for people, and it really puts you in the right mindset of what your goals should be financially, because what you're going to find is a lot of people that get excited over tax returns don't understand how any of these systems work. And when you realize that it's literally just money that you overpaid being given back to you, it's a little bit less exciting. And then number 5, the 5th skill or lesson that you have to learn here is that savers are losers at the end of the day. Now, saving money is still, in my opinion, always better than spending money, but what you do with that money is extremely important because of something called inflation. And inflation is essentially an increase in the price of goods and services over time, or a deterioration in the buying power of your money, and on average it's around 2% per year. And so people who put money into a traditional checking account or savings account often have an APY or interest rate of 0.05%, which is absolutely terrible. I did a video the other day on 5 secrets that the banks don't want you to know. If you guys want to learn more about what goes on behind the scenes of the banking industry, I'll link up to that in the description below. But this is one of the secrets here, is that you're losing money every single year by leaving it in a traditional bank account. And in most cases, if you have a 0.05% yield, you're losing about 1.95% of your buying power every single year by saving that money in a bank. Now, there are some other options out there. There's the CD, the certificate of deposit. There are online bank accounts like Ally or other different ones out there that offer much better rates. And so if you are looking to protect the buying power of your money, I would definitely recommend looking into one of those options. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. These are the 5 most important financial skills or lessons that you're just not learning in school. And if you don't learn these things early on, they could have a huge impact on your financial health for decades to follow. So if you guys know somebody who needs to learn these lessons, please share this video with them and help spread this message here of improving your financial situation and some learning that goes above and beyond what is taught in high school. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.